What if a fake relationship turns into real love? Today we are diving into one of the most popular modern romance novels, The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood. This is not just a love story. It is a journey of science, trust, vulnerability, and unexpected romance. So if you love smart heroines, grumpy heroes, fake dating tropes, and emotional chemistry, then stay with me till the end, because this story will surprise you. Olive Smith never believed in love. For her, love was like a scientific myth, something people talked about but rarely proved. She was a PhD student in biology at Stanford University, and her entire life revolved around research papers, lab experiments, caffeine, and deadlines. Her mind was wired for logic, not emotions. She liked formulas, not feelings. To Olive, relationships were just distractions, and heartbreak was a waste of productivity. But one impulsive moment in the hallway of her department was about to destroy every belief she had. It all started when her best friend Dawn began worrying about Olive's personal life. Olive had recently broken up with a guy named Jeremy, not because she didn't like him, but because Dawn liked him more. Olive thought it was only fair to step aside. She had convinced herself she was perfectly fine with it. After all, feelings were manageable, right? But Dawn didn't believe that. She thought Olive was secretly heartbroken and still attached to Jeremy. And Olive hated that. She didn't want anyone thinking she was weak, emotional, or dependent on a man. So when Dawn kept insisting that Olive needed to move on and date someone else, Olive made the dumbest decision of her life. To prove she had moved on, she kissed the first man she saw in the hallway. And that man happened to be Dr. Adam Carlsen. Adam Carlsen was not just any professor. He was the professor, the most feared, respected, brilliant, and intimidating professor in the entire biology department. Students avoided him. Faculty admired him. Rumors about him spread like wildfire, that he was ruthless, emotionally unavailable, and absolutely impossible to impress. And Olive just kissed him. The moment her lips left his, Olive realized what she had done. Her brain froze. Her stomach dropped. Her entire academic future flashed before her eyes like a tragic documentary. She expected Adam to yell, or insult her, or at least look disgusted. Instead, he calmly asked, "Are you okay?" That was the first crack in Olive's understanding of Adam. He didn't seem angry. He didn't seem shocked. He just seemed concerned. Trying to recover from her embarrassment, Olive quickly explained that it was all fake, that she just needed to prove something to her friend, that it was stupid, that it meant nothing. Adam listened silently. Then he said something even more unexpected. "Do you want me to pretend to be your boyfriend?" Olive blinked. She thought she misheard him, but Adam was serious. He told her he needed something too, for reasons he didn't fully explain yet. A fake relationship could benefit both of them. It would look professional, believable, and harmless. Just an arrangement. No emotions. No expectations. For Olive, it was the perfect solution. She agreed. That was the beginning of the most unrealistic yet strangely logical relationship of her life. They created rules. Strict rules. No real feelings. No physical closeness beyond what was necessary. And most importantly, it would end when Olive no longer needed it. At first, Olive thought this was just a temporary academic drama. Something small. Something controlled. But slowly, their fake relationship started becoming dangerously real. Adam began showing up for Olive in ways no one ever had. He would check on her after long lab nights. He supported her research when other professors doubted her. He listened when she was overwhelmed. He never made her feel small, even though he was clearly way more accomplished than she was. Olive didn't understand why Adam was doing all this. He never smiled much. He didn't flirt. He didn't act romantic. He just cared. And Olive wasn't prepared for that. For the first time, she started looking forward to their fake dates. Not because of the act, but because of him. She started noticing the tiny things, the way he listened to her, the way he trusted her intelligence, the way he protected her from toxic colleagues, the way he made her feel safe without ever trying to control her. And that scared her more than anything, because Olive had a theory. People like Adam Carlsen didn't fall in love, and people like Olive Smith definitely didn't get loved by someone like him. She kept reminding herself this was all pretend, just a performance, just an experiment. But the experiment was failing, because somewhere between fake affection and silent support, Olive had fallen for him. And she didn't even realize when it happened. One night, while working late in the lab, Olive felt overwhelmed. Her research was stuck. Her advisor was unhelpful. She felt like she didn't belong in the PhD program at all. She felt like a fraud. That's when Adam showed up. He didn't lecture her. He didn't correct her. He just told her, "You are not a failure. You just haven't reached your result yet." That line stayed with her.
It wasn't romantic. It wasn't dramatic. It was real. And Olive's heart quietly shifted toward him. But love is never simple. And just when Olive thought Adam might actually care about her beyond their fake contract, she learned something that shattered her trust. Adam had his own reasons for agreeing to fake date her. And those reasons were not as innocent as she thought. She felt betrayed. She felt used. And suddenly, everything between them felt uncertain. The man she thought understood her the most had been hiding something all along. And now Olive had to decide, was this just another academic misunderstanding, or had she fallen in love with someone who was never truly hers? Olive couldn't sleep that night. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw Adam's face, calm, unreadable, and strangely distant. It felt like he had built a wall around himself, and she had just realized that she had been standing outside it all along. The truth she had learned was simple but painful. Adam had agreed to fake date her because he wanted to protect his professional image. Some people in the department thought he was incapable of maintaining a healthy personal life. They believed he was cold and emotionally disconnected. Being seen with Olive, a smart, kind, and respected student, helped him look more approachable and balanced. To Adam, it was strategy. To Olive, it was everything. She felt foolish. She had believed his concern, his patience, his silent support meant something more. But now she wondered if it was all just part of the act. The next day at Stanford felt heavier than usual. The lab, the hallways, the classrooms, everything looked the same, but Olive felt different. She didn't know how to face Adam now. Their fake relationship had always been built on rules, but she had started hoping for more. And that hope was now breaking her. When Adam finally met her near the campus cafe, Olive could barely look at him. "Olive," he said softly, "you've been avoiding me." She forced a small smile. "I've just been busy." Adam studied her expression. He could always read her better than she could read herself. That was the problem. "Did I do something wrong?" he asked. That question almost made her cry. She wanted to say yes. She wanted to tell him that he had unknowingly become the most important person in her life, and now she didn't know if he even saw her as real. But instead, she said, "No. Everything is fine." It wasn't. Over the next few weeks, their fake dating continued, but something had changed. Olive stopped laughing around him. She stopped opening up about her insecurities. She kept their conversations short and professional. Adam noticed, and he hated it. One evening, after a stressful lab session, Adam found Olive alone in the research building. She was staring at her laptop, clearly frustrated, trying to solve a complex statistical model for her project. "Need help?" Adam asked. "I'll manage," Olive replied. That wasn't like her. Adam pulled up a chair anyway. "Show me what you're working on." She hesitated, then turned the screen toward him. As Adam analyzed her work, he realized something. Olive was brilliant. She had potential beyond what most people in the department saw, and he admired her for it. But he also realized something else. He was the one person she had trusted, and he had broken that trust without even trying. "Olive," he said quietly, "you think I used you, don't you?" She froze. For a moment, she considered denying it again. But this time, she whispered, "I thought you cared." Adam's chest tightened. "I do." "Then why didn't you tell me the real reason you agreed to this?" she asked. Adam took a breath. "Because I didn't think it mattered. I never meant for it to hurt you." "That's the thing," Olive said. "It mattered to me." Adam looked at her, really looked at her, and for the first time, he understood that their arrangement was no longer fake for Olive. Somewhere along the way, her feelings had become real. And maybe his had too. From that day forward, Adam stopped treating their relationship like a performance. He started being honest, open, and vulnerable with her. He told her about his struggles as a young professor, his fear of failure, and how lonely he felt in an environment where everyone expected perfection. Olive listened, and slowly, she forgave him. Their connection deepened, not through romance, but through understanding. Adam began showing up for Olive not because he had to, but because he wanted to. He encouraged her before every important presentation. He defended her when faculty doubted her research, and he reminded her constantly that she belonged in the scientific world. For Olive, Adam became more than a fake boyfriend. He became her safe place. But the department was watching. Rumors started spreading. Some professors believed Olive was only getting academic support because she was close to Adam. Others questioned her integrity, assuming she was using her relationship to gain an advantage. Olive was devastated. She had worked so hard to be respected as a scientist, and now people were reducing her to just Adam's girlfriend. Adam heard the gossip too, and he was furious. He realized that while he was trying to help Olive grow, the world was trying to tear her down. One day, he confronted the department chair directly. "Olive Smith is one of the most capable researchers in this university," Adam said firmly. "And if anyone thinks she needs me to succeed, they clearly don't know her at all." That moment changed everything for Olive. She had never had someone stand up for her like that. And for the first time, she felt loved. Not as a student, not as a colleague, but as a person. Still, Olive remained scared of her own feelings. She kept telling herself that this relationship had an expiration date. That one day, Adam would step away and return to his world of perfection and distance. But Adam had his own realization. He didn't want this to end. He wanted Olive in his life, genuinely, not as an arrangement, but as his partner. But he didn't know how to say it. Because Adam Carlsen was not good with emotions, and Olive Smith was not good with hope. And soon, both of them would have to choose between safety and love. The more time Olive spent with Adam, the more she realized that he wasn't the heartless professor people made him out to be. In fact, he was the complete opposite. He just didn't know how to show it. But love has a strange way of testing people. And their biggest test came when Olive's research funding was suddenly put at risk. Her advisor, Dr. Aslan, had always been difficult, distant, dismissive, and slightly jealous of Olive's capabilities. But when he found out about Olive's closeness with Adam, he began treating her even more harshly. He started doubting her work openly, refusing to approve her progress reports, and eventually, he threatened to pull her off the project. To Olive, it felt like her entire future was collapsing. She had sacrificed so much for this PhD: sleepless nights, endless experiments, emotional isolation. And now all of it was hanging by a thread. When Adam found out, he went straight to Aslan. Their conversation was tense. "Aslan, if you have an issue with Olive's research, address it professionally," Adam said. "Don't punish her because of personal bias." Aslan scoffed. "You're too involved in her life to see things clearly." Adam didn't argue. He just said, "I believe in her work, and that's enough." But Olive didn't know this happened. All she saw was the pressure growing. And for the first time, she pushed Adam away. "I don't want you getting in trouble because of me," she said. "This was supposed to be fake. It's getting too real." Adam's voice softened. "Maybe real isn't the problem." Olive looked at him, confused. Adam took a breath. "I care about you, Olive. Not as part of an arrangement. Not for appearances. Just you." Olive's heart stopped. That was the first time he had ever said it out loud. She wanted to believe him, but fear was louder than hope. "What if this ends badly?" she whispered. Adam replied, "Then at least we'll know it was real." That night, Olive sat alone in her apartment thinking about everything. She realized she had been hiding behind logic for so long that she forgot how to feel. Adam had never tried to control her. He never treated her like a weakness. He just supported her. And she had almost lost him because she was afraid of love. The next morning, Olive made a decision. She walked into Adam's office and said, "I don't want this to be fake anymore." Adam looked up from his desk. "Then let's make it real," he said. Their relationship shifted. They stopped pretending. They stopped hiding. They started choosing each other. But the academic world is not kind to love stories. Olive soon discovered that Aslan had been sabotaging her reputation behind her back. He told faculty members that she was unreliable, emotionally unstable, and only successful because of Adam's help. Olive felt crushed. She thought science was about fairness. But now she realized it was about power. When Adam heard this, he made another bold move. He publicly withdrew his collaboration with Aslan's department. "Anyone who disrespects Olive disrespects my work," Adam announced. It was the strongest stance he had ever taken. Olive watched this unfold in silence. And that's when she understood something important. Adam wasn't protecting her for his image. He was protecting her because he loved her. For the first time in her life, Olive stopped doubting herself. She felt confident, valued, supported, and she fell deeper for him. But love stories never move forward without breaking something first. And soon, Olive would learn one final truth that could either strengthen their bond or destroy it completely. Olive had never expected her heart to feel this heavy. Every time she thought about Adam, she felt a mixture of warmth and fear. Love was new, unpredictable, and overwhelming, and she wasn't sure she could handle it. For someone who had always trusted data over feelings, she was now drowning in uncertainty. The turning point came during a major departmental conference. Olive was scheduled to present her research findings, the culmination of months of painstaking work. She had been preparing tirelessly, but the pressure was immense. Her nerves were fraying, and every time she looked at the notes on her laptop, she doubted herself. She feared that the gossip about her relationship with Adam, combined with Aslan's relentless undermining, would destroy her credibility. Adam was with her backstage, quietly offering support. He didn't hover. He didn't coddle. But he held her hand, gave her subtle nods, and whispered, "You've got this." Those few words, so simple, grounded her in a way no amount of preparation could. When Olive walked up to the stage, she could feel every eye on her. Her heart pounded, her palms sweated, and for a moment, she thought she would freeze. But then she saw Adam in the audience, calm, attentive, and unwavering. And in that moment, she realized something vital. This wasn't about anyone else. This was about her and her work, about her skills, her intelligence, and her dedication. She began her presentation. Each slide, each explanation flowed seamlessly. Her confidence grew with every word, fueled not by Adam's presence alone, but by the fact that she had earned her place there. When she concluded, the applause was thunderous. Colleagues who had doubted her now looked on with respect. Olive felt a surge of pride, a pride she had never felt before. After the conference, Adam met her in the hallway. He smiled, the rare, genuine smile that she had secretly been waiting for. "See? You didn't need me to fix anything. You did this yourself." Olive laughed, partly in relief, partly in disbelief. "I guess you were right about one thing. I can handle more than I thought." Adam's expression softened. "And I'll be here whenever you need me. Not because I have to, but because I want to." It was the first time Olive truly felt that Adam's love was real. No pretense, no rules, just honesty, just support. But just when things seemed perfect, the final conflict hit. Aslan, furious at Olive's success and Adam's intervention, escalated the situation. He formally accused Olive of academic dishonesty, claiming she had leveraged her relationship with Adam to advance her research. The department demanded a formal review. For Olive, it felt like the walls were closing in. Her career, her reputation, her integrity, everything she had worked for was at stake. Adam, seeing the devastation in Olive's eyes, refused to remain passive. He meticulously gathered evidence of her original work, documented her experiments, and presented testimonials from peers who had worked closely with Olive. He defended her not just as a colleague, but as someone he loved and respected. Olive watched him in awe. She had seen professors fight for funding, for recognition for their careers, but never for someone's dignity and heart. And in that moment, she realized the depth of Adam's feelings. This wasn't just professional loyalty. This was love in its purest, fiercest form. When the department cleared her of all accusations, Olive felt a wave of relief, but also an overwhelming gratitude toward Adam. She understood that love wasn't about perfection. It wasn't about avoiding mistakes. It was about standing by each other through challenges and chaos with unwavering support. That evening, Adam and Olive found themselves alone in the lab. The city lights glimmered through the large windows. Silence enveloped them, but it wasn't uncomfortable. It was intimate. Olive finally broke the tension. "I've been scared," she admitted. "Scared that I'd ruin this. Scared that I wasn't good enough for you." Adam reached for her hand. "Olive, you've always been enough. I just needed you to see it too." Her heart swelled. She had spent so long measuring herself by rules, by expectations, by what others thought she should be. But with Adam, she could just be herself. Smart, awkward, determined, emotional, flawed, and loved exactly as she was. And that night, they let go of the last remnants of the fake arrangement. There were no more rules, no more contracts, no more pretending. Just two people choosing each other freely. Their relationship wasn't perfect. It never would be, but it was real. And sometimes that was more than enough. In the weeks that followed, Olive and Adam navigated the new phase of their relationship. They balanced work, research, and personal life with humor, patience, and understanding. Olive continued to excel in her PhD. Adam remained her steadfast supporter, and together, they proved that love could coexist with ambition, intellect, and passion. The love hypothesis, at its core, was a story about trust. Trust in oneself, trust in another, and trust in the unexpected journey of love. It was about letting go of fear and embracing vulnerability. About understanding that real connections are built not on perfection, but on honesty, empathy, and courage. For Olive and Adam, the journey wasn't just about falling in love. It was about discovering the strength within themselves and in each other to navigate life's complexities without losing heart. And as they walked out of the lab hand in hand, under the soft glow of the campus lights, Olive realized something profound. Sometimes, the most extraordinary love stories begin with the smallest, most impulsive actions: a kiss, a choice, a risk taken without certainty. And sometimes that risk changes everything. After everything, Olive and Adam had reached a point neither of them expected. What had started as a fake relationship, a staged performance to satisfy a friend's curiosity, had transformed into something infinitely more profound. They had navigated uncertainty, professional obstacles, emotional vulnerabilities, and personal fears, only to discover that love could thrive even in the most logical and disciplined lives. The weeks following the departmental conflict became a period of reflection and growth for both. Olive, for the first time, embraced the idea that her worth wasn't determined solely by achievements, accolades, or how others perceived her. She realized that intelligence and ambition were important, but so were heart, trust, and emotional honesty. Adam, on the other hand, discovered that opening his heart, despite the risk of appearing vulnerable or losing control, was worth more than any reputation or professional perfection he had ever chased. They continued to spend time together outside the lab, exploring simple joys that had nothing to do with work. They went on late-night walks, coffee runs, and quiet dinners. They argued at times, yes, but each disagreement taught them something about patience, empathy, and compromise. Adam's gruff exterior often clashed with Olive's cautious optimism, but these contrasts only strengthened their bond. Their relationship was real, messy, authentic, and human, unlike the perfect, polished facades both had seen in their academic environments. One evening, while walking across campus after a seminar, Olive stopped and looked at Adam. "You know," she said quietly, "I never thought something like this could happen to me. A love that's real, not forced, not pretend, something I can actually believe in." Adam smiled, his usual stoicism replaced with something softer. "Neither did I. But I'm glad it did. I'm glad it happened with you." That simple acknowledgement was more powerful than any romantic gesture or dramatic declaration. It was honesty, understanding, and acceptance rolled into one. It encapsulated the essence of their journey, that love isn't always explosive or dramatic. Sometimes it's quiet, patient, and profound, showing up in gestures, words, and consistent care over time. Academically, Olive thrived. Freed from the shadow of rumors and sabotage, she published her research and presented at conferences with newfound confidence. Adam continued to support her professionally, but no longer as a requirement of their fake arrangement, now as a true partner, collaborator, and confidant. Their relationship became a subtle inspiration to those around them, a reminder that genuine connection and trust can coexist with ambition, intellect, and high-pressure environments. Looking back, Olive realized that the most significant lesson of her journey wasn't about Adam or even love itself. It was about vulnerability. By allowing herself to care, to trust, and to embrace uncertainty, she discovered a depth of emotion and resilience she hadn't known existed. Adam had mirrored that vulnerability, teaching her that even the most composed, logical people can have a soft, loving side. Together, they had built a partnership grounded not in appearances or convenience, but in authenticity and mutual respect. Their story also highlighted the importance of support systems beyond romance. On remained Olive's closest friend, celebrating victories and offering perspective during challenges. Their bond underscored the idea that love, while central, doesn't exist in isolation. Family, friends, and community form the scaffold that allows a relationship to flourish. Adam's relationship with his colleagues and his own support network also showed that personal and professional lives can intersect harmoniously when communication, honesty, and boundaries are respected. By the end of the story, the fake in their relationship was a distant memory. It had served as a catalyst, a nudge that propelled both characters to confront their insecurities, recognize their desires, and acknowledge the value they held for one another. What had begun with a single impulsive kiss evolved into a profound love story, demonstrating that risk, courage, and emotional honesty are often the prerequisites for true connection. The love hypothesis leaves readers with a sense of hope and fulfillment. It's a reminder that love isn't formulaic, despite what data or logic might suggest. Emotional connections, like scientific experiments, require trial, error, and persistence. But unlike research, the rewards are immeasurable: a deeper understanding of oneself, the discovery of shared intimacy, and the joy of finding someone who respects and cherishes your authentic self. In reflecting on Olive and Adam's journey, several themes emerge. The first is the intersection of intellect and emotion. Olive's brilliance didn't prevent her from experiencing vulnerability, and Adam's professionalism didn't negate his capacity for tenderness. Their dynamic illustrates that intelligence and empathy are not mutually exclusive, but complementary forces that can enrich relationships. The second theme is the transformative power of trust. Trust isn't a passive expectation, it's an active choice. Both Olive and Adam chose to trust each other, despite uncertainty and past disappointments. This decision allowed them to step beyond fear, embrace vulnerability, and cultivate a meaningful bond. The third theme is courage. The courage to risk emotional exposure, the courage to stand up against injustice, and the courage to believe in love even when it seems improbable. Every challenge they faced, from departmental politics to personal insecurities, required them to confront fear and act with integrity. Finally, the novel emphasizes the beauty of slow, deliberate connection. The romance between Olive and Adam doesn't happen overnight. It unfolds gradually, allowing both characters to grow, adapt, and understand each other deeply. This slow burn makes the story feel authentic, relatable, and ultimately satisfying. For viewers watching this video, the takeaway is simple. Love isn't about perfection. It's about persistence, honesty, and the willingness to embrace imperfection in yourself, in your partner, and in the world around you. It's about choosing someone consistently, even when challenges arise. And most importantly, it's about balancing ambition, intellect, and emotional connection to build a partnership that's as strong in heart as it is in mind. As Olive and Adam walk through the corridors of Stanford, hand in hand, it's clear that their story is more than a romance novel. It's a narrative about growth, resilience, and human connection. It's a reminder that the most extraordinary love stories often begin in the most ordinary of ways: a spontaneous decision, a bold gesture, a single step outside one's comfort zone. And for Olive and Adam, that step was a kiss that changed everything. From that moment, through struggles, doubts, and challenges, they discovered that love isn't a hypothesis to test. It's an experience to live, fully and unreservedly. By the end of this journey, viewers can understand that the love hypothesis is not just a story about romance, but a story about life, about the courage to be vulnerable, about the rewards of trust, about embracing imperfection, and about finding someone who sees you, truly sees you, and chooses you every day, even when circumstances are complicated. In the world of academia, stress, and societal pressures, Olive and Adam's story stands as a beacon of hope. It teaches us that love, when nurtured with respect, honesty, and empathy, can flourish even under the most unlikely conditions. And perhaps the most important lesson of all is this: sometimes, love begins with a small, impulsive act, a risk taken in a single heartbeat, and can grow into something far more profound than either person could have imagined. As the credits of this story metaphorically roll, we see Olive and Adam continuing their journey together. They laugh, argue, work, celebrate, and support each other, imperfectly perfect, authentically real. Their story reminds us that love is not a formula, a rule, or an experiment. It is the courage to open one's heart, the patience to understand in others, and the willingness to choose each other, day after day, moment after moment. And so ends the tale of Olive Smith and Adam Carlsen, a story of logic meeting emotion, rules giving way to freedom, and a fake relationship blossoming into the most real, profound, and enduring love imaginable.